talk to us about how this is a seismic move. What does this particular voyage, which of course is far further than the likes of Blue Origin and Virgin Galactic have been, what it means, you think, for the reality of space travel, for me as a consumer?
Sure. Good to see you, Caroline. Yeah, I think it's significant for a few reasons. One is the mission architecture itself, right? So they're going to go to 575-kilometer apogee or altitude. That's the deepest humans have been in space since, I believe, 1972. So even going to the International Space Station is only around 400 kilometers in altitude. The deepest we had been recently was repairing the Hubble telescope, which I think is about 540. So it's significant in its architecture. They're also going to be in orbit for 3 days, which, I joke with friends, imagine going on a camping trip and you can't get out of your Chevy Suburban for 4 days or 3 days. And that's essentially the mission they're on. So obviously they're trained for that, but that's a significant element of the mission. And then I think the other thing is, as you mentioned, Ed mentioned, all civilian crew. And I just want to highlight Dr. Proctor, who I'm a big fan of. She will be the first female African-American pilot of any spacecraft in the history of humanity. I think that's a significant milestone that's worth celebrating.
Well said, Dylan. Agree. I mean, we're seeing live pictures. They're clearly really close as a group, and they clearly had to get to know each other pretty intimately, as we understand Dylan painting the picture of sharing such close quarters for 3 days or so. What's going to be the biggest stress that they're under? Is it going to be psychological? Is it going to be physical? Talk to us about it.
Well, I haven't been to space myself. I hope to do that at some point soon. But yeah, I think it's really, will the training kick in? I have the privilege of knowing a lot of astronauts. They talk about their training very similar to the military. When you're in stressful situations, the training takes over. So how they receive the kind of training where that will happen, I assume so. I assume they're ready to go. But I think those are the kinds of questions. Every mission is going to have a glitch, right? Technology is complicated, as we know. But if the training kicks in, if the training is well done, they'll know how to handle that. The Dragon is a very advanced technology system, as I'm sure you're aware. So it can fly on autopilot. There's a lot of things that we can do to sort of override situations that might be risky. So I anticipate a very smooth mission. SpaceX's track record is remarkable, as we all know.
Ed, what does this mean for Elon Musk? What does this mean for SpaceX? What does it mean for investing in this business going forward?
Well, I want to compliment.
Sorry, that was aimed at Ed, Dylan.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
No worries. Dylan's just eager. He's as excited as I am. But I've spoken to a lot of investors over the last few days, actually a lot of NASA officials as well. And NASA feels very simply that this is a great move forward for human space exploration. As you said, Caroline, Jeff Bezos went to 65 miles above the Earth. That is suborbital territory. This is many magnitudes greater. It is more risky. And it's interesting because you'll remember that a Netflix documentary crew has been following the Inspiration4 crew for a number of months now as they went through their training. And there was a scene in one of those episodes where they discuss robustly, why are we going to 360 miles? Why add that additional risk given that how far it is they have to travel? And Jared Isaacman told me last night that the whole point of SpaceX is eventually to get humans to Mars, right? It's eventually to get humans back on the moon. What is the point of doing a mission if we don't take a step forward to that? So he didn't want to go to the International Space Station. He wanted to go further beyond that, further beyond Hubble, so that they can actually make this mission about progress toward that goal. And interesting, another thing NASA told me, SpaceX has agreed to hand over all the data generated from this mission for free. Everything, radiation readings, space debris readings out there. Also let NASA inspect the vessel when it comes back down to Earth, if it successfully comes back down to Earth, which NASA tells me is completely invaluable for future flight.
Dylan, that must excite you as a company, a man building a business in this space. You say that you're creating a company capable of delivering any mission humans can conceive of. What will this do for your own business? And as I know that you're looking towards going public, as you're raising funds, how are you looking to build on the success of SpaceX?
Yeah, well, it's a great question. I think this is really motivating the retail community, the everyday space fan, if you will. So that's helpful for the ecosystem, clearly. But what we're really focused on, together with SpaceX and many other great companies, is the destination piece. Now that we've built the elevator, so to speak, to space, where can we go? And obviously this mission's important because it's going to that high altitude, but ultimately we need private space stations. We need the ability to get back to the moon. We need the ability to get into deep space. So we're really focused on destinations and laying infrastructure that enable that in the future.